Optimizing your PC is actually the most important task that you need to do as an editor. You do not want to have any problems when you are actually editing. What I want you to do before you even start anything, even if you have a new PC, do this. Press the Windows key, go down to Settings, Windows Updates, and check for any Windows updates that you may have. Right click on your mouse and go down to whatever GPU software that you are using. So for me it is AMD Radeon software, and whatever driver that you have, make sure that you are using the most up-to-date version. So for me, my driver is 22.6.1. It will be completely different for you. So after that, just go down to Premiere, go up to Edit, go down to Preferences, and then click on General. So after your General tab is actually open, my at Startup and my opening to Project Startup is actually both at Show Home. My bins is actually default, except from my double click. It is open in new window, and my project is actually completely default. Show event indicator, I'm going to turn that off. Show tooltips, I'm going to turn that off as well. My show workspace restart warning dialog on double click, I'm also going to turn that off. Show project load error dialog, I'm also going to turn that off. Auto detect log video color space. Yes, if you have actually filmed in log on a high-end camera like the Canon C70, and my display color management requires GPU acceleration, I would have it on, but it is grayed out for me because I have a problem on my PC. Whenever I actually turn on GPU acceleration in my Premiere, I get a blue screen. I tried fixing everything, nothing works for me. So I just got to use my software only. So extend dynamic range monitoring. Yes, you wanted this on if you were using a high-end PC. Show system compatibility issues at startup. Turn that fucker off. You do not want that message to come up. It is very annoying. I've had it in the past. Show project and bin in project panel tab. I'm going to keep that on as well. So that is what my general is. My appearance, I have it completely on default. Never want to change this, want it on default always. In my audio tab, I have it completely default, except for my change a few settings in here. Multi-channel outputs to mono in source monitor, I'm going to turn it off because most of my footage is actually recorded in stereo. Play audio while scrubbling, yes, you want this on always. Maintain pitch while shuttling, so I'm going to keep it on as well when you're moving about. That's what shuttling is, and you want it on. Mute input during timeline recording. If you record audio in Premiere, I've never done it, so I'm going to turn it off. Automatic audio waveform generation, you want this on always. You never want to turn it off. If you have it off, it is very weird and it takes forever to get your waveforms. Render audio when rendering video, yes, you want it on. When you are pre-rendering, you also want it to actually render your audio as well. Use legacy audio effects playback pre-roll, I have it off always, and I just keep the rest at default. Audio hardware, I have everything on default here except for my latency. The default is actually 200, so make sure you actually lower it as low as possible, but do not have it on 30 because I have had a little bit of problems with my timeline and I just turned it up a little bit and it fixed the issue. I have mine at 50, which I think is actually the best. Autosave, one of the most important things that you need to actually know. Default is actually at 15 minutes, change it down to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. My maximum project versions is actually 2000. I work mainly on video parts and it takes a lot of time to actually finish. You want it to be as high as possible when you are actually editing. Capture, I have it completely at default. Collaboration, I never use it, so I have it completely at default. Control service, I've never used ever. Device control, I have it completely at default again. Graphics, I have it completely at default because I'm not in Asia. Labels, you can change this if you want. Media, I would change this a little bit. So your media time base, I have mine at 25 frames per second. My time code, I use my media source because I'm not using time code often. My frame count is actually set to 0. My default media scaling, it will be completely on none. If you use multiple resolutions, if you're using like 1080p and 4K, it's just a lot easier so you don't have to actually like punch in and like punch out. So I would have it on set to frame size. Turn the first 3 off. Include captions on input, I have that on. Enable proxies, yes, you want this on if you use 4K footage quite a bit because your PC cannot really run like 4K unless it's a very high-end PC. Allow display media during project input, I turn that off. I find it really annoying. Create folder for inputted media, yes, you want this on as well. This is what makes the most crashes on Premiere, is actually turning off graying files. Turn this on if you actually edit live footage. No, I think no one actually edits live footage unless you're working on TV. Media cache. Make sure that your media cache file is actually using your fastest drive in your PC. So for me, it is my SSD on my laptop. I would actually recommend that you do use a SSD for your media cache files, or use a separate one for your media cache files. So I am thinking about doing that when I actually build my PC. Make sure your media cache management is actually on. Automatically delete cache files older than 7 days. That is what I set it to. As well, I would actually recommend you do delete your unused media cache files every like 2 to 3 months. 6 months is actually, I will go max. In playback, I have it completely default. I have never changed it. If you have 2 monitors, I would actually try out Mercury Transmit. If you like it or not. If you have like a TV or something that you do turn this on. If you have one monitor only, I would never turn this on. So sync settings, I've never changed it. So I have it completely on default. In my timeline window, I have it completely on default, except from my timeline playback auto scrolling, I have it on smooth scroll. Set focus timeline window when performing inserts and override edits, I have that off. My snap playhead in window when snap is enabled. Yes, you want this always on because you want your snapping to actually always be on. You do not want it to be off. It will just be a little bit more weird and claggy. At playback end, return to the beginning when restart playback. Turn this off. Display out of sync indicators for unlinked clips. It is very annoying when you actually like unlink a clip and you just do like a little bit of a J or L cut, and it's very annoying, so actually turn that off. Play after rendering previews, no. Because sometimes when I am pre-rendering something and I'm watching a YouTube video, my video just plays. It's very weird and very annoying. Show clip, mismatch, warning dialogue. I'm gonna turn that off. Match frame, in points. Don't know what I mean, so I have that off. Restore, open sequences when opening projects. Yes, I have that on. My trim, I have never changed it, so.
But mention my name, oh really? A piggy in the middle of a war, get milli. I put the bread on a kid's head, order the hit and getting fried like a bacon sarnie. Fuck the he say, she say.